everyone. Welcome to my channel. This is Kate again. This is Life Class with Kokoli. On this channel, we talk about just about everything. That is why it's called Life Class. We talk about mostly, life is all about relationships, relationship with our husbands, with our wives, with our children, our extended family members, our parents, our siblings, our friends, our neighbors, our work colleagues. So life, as humans, we're all social beings. So we like to interact, we have to relate with others. But in trying to relate, sometimes though we get heartbroken, we get our fingers burnt, we sometimes also are the ones who obviously hurt other people who are in a relationship with us. You understand? And then a lot of times you realize that one of the causes of these things is because maybe our upbringing, some of the experiences of life, sometimes we have insecurities ourselves. We've not healed from past hurts and a past feeling of abandonment, and then we take that and we usually don't talk about it, so we carry it into our next relationship, and then we now it now starts playing it now starts playing out. You understand? Directly or indirectly, we see ourselves hurting others, and then sometimes we see others hurting us. That is why sometimes it's always not good to be judgmental, to deal with people with a little bit of empathy, with a little bit of understanding, with a little bit of compassion, because you never know what people are going through. You never know what informed their behavior, or what obviously causes them to behave the way they behave. But I must tell you that for every behavioral pattern that you see people exhibit, it is not far from their foundation. It is not far from their foundation. So the foundation of how we're raised or where we're brought up, the experiences the things we experienced in growing up, the things we see people close to us, the things they experience, it can affect us positively or negatively in such a way that when we now grow up to become adults, we start acting out, it starts affecting us, we start playing it out, kind of replicating it in our lives. You see? But one thing we must also know is, according to the what I actually put in this topic in this topic today, um, stop giving excuse. No matter what may have happened to people in the past, don't be their um, don't make yourself their victim, because you are not the cause of whatever it is that they may have gone through in the past. Don't make yourself the victim of circumstances of other people's um, issues. So when people show you who they are, stop giving excuses on their behalf. Stop taking in the abuse. Stop taking in the financial abuse. Stop taking in the emotional abuse. Stop brushing abuse under the carpet. Take, for example, I'm going to give um, a life story about a Tina. Tina had been married before, and she's got children. And then unfortunately, that marriage broke up. And at the time her marriage broke up, she had three children, two boys and a girl. And she felt, obviously, because of the men, she felt, oh, three, already she has three children, who is going to marry her? And then she continued raising these children as a single mother. But lo and behold, she met this guy, Joe, who somehow they got talking, and they started off a relationship together. And one thing led to the other. They finally got married. But the thing is, a lot of times, and this is what I say to matured singles, love does not keep a relationship. Love is not what keeps a relationship. Sex is not what keeps a relationship. What keeps a relationship from inception is knowledge, understanding, wisdom. So now, in applying wisdom as a single mother, as a matured single, that already you have three children, you are a divorcee. Don't make the mistake. It is not, it will not be advisable. It is not a smart thing to do when you want to start off a relationship, to now start off a relationship with a guy who, number one, you are older than, or maybe of the same age with. Remember, as at this time, Tina was already in her 50s. So if you look at the biological clock, there are possibilities that it is possible. I'm not saying God doesn't work miracles, but there's a possibility that she might struggle to conceive. And then so she goes and meets this young guy who is a matured bachelor, never been married before, doesn't have immigration, it's an illegal, doesn't have has not sorted out his immigration status, doesn't have a job, doesn't have a place where he lives, he squats around, doesn't have no bank account, nothing. And then she sees him in that, I would say, vulnerable state. She has the children, she has the car, she has the house, she has the maturity on her side, she has the job, she has the British passport, she has everything, all the comforts, she has the money. And then she she well falls in love with this young guy who might be a couple of years younger than her or of the same age, has never been married before, doesn't have a child of his own, doesn't have a job, doesn't have a car, doesn't have a roof over his head, doesn't have immigration status. So the question now is, what is the attraction? One thing I realize is you cannot tell who a man is. The true character of a man cannot be exhibited when the man doesn't have a job, doesn't have a car, doesn't have an immigration status, doesn't have a home of his own, doesn't have uh, six zeros in his bank account, is struggling to even afford one square meal. That's such when you meet any man in that situation, the man will be the most humble kind of man. If you tell him to jump like a frog, he will do it. If you tell him to walk 10 miles on your behalf, he will do it. If you tell him to go and steal everything from his all his mom jewelries to bring for you, he will do it. You will not at that stage be able to say, this is the true character of a man. Poverty humbles a man. Poverty humbles a man. Unemployment humbles a man. Homelessness humbles a man. It is difficult for you to know who the true character of a man who does not have a job, who does not have a car, who does not have, especially here in the UK, does not have immigration status. It's like all the odds are against him. And then such a man now decides not to fall in love with another single woman like him, another single woman who perhaps does not have a immigration status, who is struggling, who doesn't have a job, who the two of them are of the same social stratification. He decides not to fall in love or to start off, kick off a relationship with such a woman, and then he comes for a woman like Tina because it is a calculated effort. He is being strategic. He knows what he wants. He knows what he wants. But a woman, so many women like Tina, so many matured singles like Tina, because they are desperate to want to be in a relationship, they are blinded. There is nothing at that point that you tell them that they will believe you. There is nothing. They don't see the handwriting on the wall. Even if you are pointing it out to them to say, what is this man bringing to the table? You have the job, you have the passport, you have the children, you have the money, you have the roof over, you are the one paying the mortgage, you're carrying him everywhere. Of course, he will go into the kitchen to prepare. If you say prepare breakfast, lunch, and dinner, he will do it for you. Wait until he now gets his British passport, he now gets a job, has his own car, and has his own money. And then he will remind you that he's an African man, that African men don't go into the kitchen to cook for their wives. And then he will remind you that you cannot tell him, you cannot control him. Then he will remember that even when you are telling him things that will be beneficial to him, he will interpret it to make control. Then you will now start seeing that he has so many extended family members who now begin to call him brother, who now begin to actually call you names, who now begin to make all kinds of allegations against you to say you were so desperate. You have three children, you are old, and you came and married their innocent brother, as if it's a woman that chases a man. So women, be careful. When you see all these signs, don't go for it. My advice will be, if you're a woman, a matured woman, you're in your late 30s, you're in your mid 40s, late 40s, early 50s, mid 50s, you're in your 60s, you have your money, you have your British passport, you have your American citizenship, anywhere you are in the world, you are a top player, you're managing businesses, you are even when you're in Africa, you are a top banker, you work in the oil and gas sector, you are an intelligent woman, intellectually you are top there. So you are an achiever. Don't make the mistake of throwing your jewels to the swine. You know what the Bible says, that throwing your jewels to the swine. When you throw your jewels to the swine, the swine will come and mess it up and match all over your jewels and make it to become worthless. A lot of women have gotten their fingers burnt. A lot of matured single women have gotten their fingers. As a matter of fact, out of their desperation, they've brought in vagabonds into their home, all in the name of relations, who have actually come into their homes to sexually abuse their children from their previous relationship because of their carelessness and desperation to get married. Also, because in the society that we live now, they label these women, they give these women all kinds of names just because they are not married. They quantify the kind of value or the amount of value they will give to these women based on the fact that on the fact of their singleness, or the fact that they are married. So that's why you see them when immediately when these go-getters, these men who are looking for who to exploit, when they just come and say hello, you see them rushing. You see them going to do the shopping, going to buy, to change his wardrobe, going to doing everything to please him so he can just make himself comfortable. While on the long term, he is being futuristic. He knows why he's there. He knows his plan. He just wants to get himself sorted out, and then his true color will not come in. So ladies, be wise. But even in doing all of that, you'll see all the signs will be there. All the signs will be there. Don't keep a blind eye. All the signs will be there. You will see all the signs. One of the signs that you see, it is said that where your treasure is, there will your heart be. Such a man will never want to invest in you. He will never want to invest in you. Or you'll be hearing him say, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have, I don't have. You know I don't have. You know I don't have. He would never want to invest in you. No, that's number one red flag. Number two red flag, he will never be protective over you. When outsiders are throwing stones at you, he will actually join them to throw stones at you. So you see all the signs. Years ago, obviously, the case of Tina. Tina will pay the mortgage. She will fix the car. She will change the car. She will pay for the insurance. She will pay everything, feeding everything. And her this when she finally married this man, he will never keep hold on to a job. Highest 1 month, he will lose his job. Back to square one again. Back to square one. But when she had her problem, he was never there. But it's interesting that all you had her saying, "Oh, Joe is a good man. He's a good man." So, like, and then you start asking yourself, "Oh, he's a good man. What is good about him? He doesn't help with the mortgage. He cannot keep a job. He doesn't help to pay any other bills. He doesn't give you the emotional and psychological support that you need. When you are in crisis, he's nowhere to be found." So what is he good? Is it the sex that is sweet, or what is he good about? What makes him a good man? A person who cannot support you, who when outsiders are throwing stones, he will join to throw stones with them. What is good about him? Now, guess what he did? In addition, that even after he did that, she still did not see, and she was still covering up for him. On their wedding, on the eve of their wedding, on the eve of their wedding, he took time out to be with a best friend, an employee of hers, somebody that Tina employed. He made out with her, saying to the woman, "Oh, if you can get pregnant for me, you know, Tina is too old now. She cannot have a child. I just want a child. I've never had a child. If you can get pregnant for me, never mind all this marriage, it's all a ceremony. I will finally leave her to be with you." His wife to be the person who is working as an employee of his wife to be. So all the red flags were there, but she kept a blind eye. He would drive her car. She would pay for the maintenance. She would pay for the insurance. She would pay the mortgage. Everything. All he was good at was just to sit and eat and watch TV and have a glass of wine. That's all he was just good at. And whilst he's sitting around lazing about underneath like a termite, eating deep into every facet of her life, trying to pull her down, trying to disregard her, trying to disrespect her by making passes at her friends, by making passes at everybody that is around her. So everything that he brought into her life was pain, hurt, disrespect, disloyalty, a lack of compassion, a lack of empathy, devaluing her, not valuing her, not loving her. He would rather join her enemies to fight against her. And yet I don't know, she was still she was comfortable in the relationship, and she was trying to just, "Oh, he's not like that. They're manipulating him from home. you know there's something, his mom, they're manipulating him." She kept on giving excuses upon excuses on his behalf. She kept on giving, even when she found out that he slept with um, her employee. She still retained the employee. She still did not take action. She still left him. And the only reason is, what will people say? They will say, oh, she was married before. Now her first marriage has broken up. Now this second one has broken up. What will people say? The thing is, even if your marriage, the first marriage breaks up, there is really no need to be in such a hurry to remarry. Take your time. Now you have three children. Look for a divorcee yourself. Maybe, or even a widower, a man who perhaps maybe unfortunately has lost his wife, a matured person. Because what you need now at that point, now single women, listen to me, this is very important. Because the reason why I am saying this is that a lot of women have gotten their fingers burnt. Women are always the ones who are at the receiving end of hurts, pain, disrespect, disloyalty, backstabbing. They end up becoming sick physically, they end up becoming sick mentally, they end up in psychiatric hospitals, and what's of all, they end up losing their houses, their money, everything, because they have been naive enough not to look, not they have not, they have loved wholeheartedly, giving everything to a man who is not deserving of them. Not because they're getting anything from this man, not because the man is even showing them that love and compassion, because they want to prove a point to this, to a society that is judgmental about women, a society that tends to label women bad whenever they are single, especially when they are matured singles. So these matured singles are now determined to make sure that by fire, by force, whether the man treats them well or not, as far as it's in the home, let the society just be saying that I am with a man. That's all that matters. So they see all the red flags, all the negativity, all the torture, all the disrespect. They keep a blind eye. What they also forget is that there are children who are watching that pattern. If my mommy can accept it, tolerate it, why can't I? What am I saying in essence? Look out for all the red flags. If your first marriage packs up and now you have a second chance to go into a second marriage, be extra careful. Don't be in a rush. Heal from the hurts of the past. Sit down and make a mental calculation. What were the things I did that caused that first marriage to pack up? What were the things I did not do? Sometimes a marriage packs up not because of what you did, but what you failed to do. What you failed to do may be in a situation whereby you saw all the red flags, you saw all the disrespect, you saw all the tendencies of cheating, you saw all the lies, all the lack of accountability, but you still went into the relationship. You saw that this is an African man. You already have three children. He's a young man. He has never been married before. You have been married before and been divorced. He doesn't have any children. And do you expect that his family, they will be happy to see you take him on and then not bear him children? Not bear him children. Why will you even be so disloyal to your children from a previous relationship, especially if you have female children, to bring in such a man? How secured are your female children with such a man? Sometimes you may not even know him, whether he's a man of character. You don't know whether he's a man who has disciplined his loins, his male organ. You bring him in, and he ends up abusing your daughters, all because you want to be married, all because you want to be married, all because you want to prove a point. There are some of the women, even when they know that their daughters are being abused by this man, they keep a blind eye. They don't talk about it. And the only reason why they don't want to talk about it, because they just want that man to remain in the home, just so the public will see that they are married, at the detriment of their daughters, because they don't understand the implication of that sexual abuse, the future implication on their children. Years ago, very close to my office in East London, is this single mother who had a teenage daughter, and now later remarried, married this man, and the guy moved in with her, and they were living together. And before you knew it, a couple of years later, one day she found out that the daughter was pregnant. And they kept on asking her, who impregnated you? She didn't want to disclose. Even the man was asking, joined her in asking, you hardly go out. Who impregnated you? She refused to disclose. The mom said, oh, well, we're not so many. I'm not able to bear any additional children. Thank God, okay, I'll take care of the child. And then lo and behold, she had the child, the baby boy. They were happy. They started nursing the baby and everything. In less than 8 months later, she became pregnant again. And as the mom, usually the new husband usually goes for nights. He does a security work and comes back home and sleeps all day. So she works in the daytime. So she was coming back home, and then another woman in the community saw her, stopped, and she was like trying to exchange pleasantries. And the woman said, don't you dare talk to me. Don't exchange pleasantries with me. You're a bad woman. How can a man who sleeps with you, and then you allow such a man to also sleep with your daughter? You are a very wicked woman. You are a bad mother. So the woman was like, what are you talking about? Somebody sleeping with my daughter? What are you talking about? So she said, oh, you're pretending. Do you think that we don't know? We know in the community the nonsense that you are doing with your husband. You allow a man who is sleeping with you to also sleep with your daughter. He has impregnated her once. Now she's pregnant again. So the woman was like, what? Turned immediately. I think at that point she snapped, rushed home. The man was sleeping. He had come back from his night shift, was sleeping. The woman rushed into the kitchen, took a knife, a kitchen knife, went straight at the man, killed him deleted him in cold blood. One of the dangers, even when the child was pregnant the second time, this man also was part of the family meeting. They were asking the girl, who is this man that is always impregnating you? What time do you even leave the home to go and be with him? Who is this man that you don't want to disclose to us? Not knowing that he is the insider that was the termite eating all the foundation of the building and then pretending. So in making these decisions as a single mother, you have to first of all take the take the existing children of your previous relationship into consideration. I know you want to say, oh, I have my life to live. After when they grow up, they will leave me, they will have their life. But fine, you've been working so hard to raise them. You don't want to leave them, expose them to any kind of sexual abuse. I tell you, most of the victims, majority of the victims of sexual, as a matter of fact, 95% of the victims of sexual abuse and not don't take place by outside by strangers. It takes place inside the home by people known to the victims. So it could be the biological fathers, it could be the stepfathers, it could be the uncles, it could be the cousins, it could be the nephews, it could be family friends, it could be neighbors. There are people close to you. It could be pastors, people who you confide in, people who these young girls they look up to. So be careful. who you expose your children to. Nobody is saying don't get married. Nobody is saying don't remarry. Nobody is saying you don't have a life to live. Learn from other people's experiences so that you don't become part of the statistics. So you are a matured single, prioritize, protect, safeguard your existing children. Before you make that decision to bring a man to the home, make sure that you have studied that man properly. And it's not something you must do in a hurry, not something of 6 months, not something of 6 months. Take your time, don't be in a hurry. And as I would say again, my recommendation would be don't, when you've married before, you are a divorcee and you want to remarry, don't go for a single man who has never been married before, who doesn't have any children before. It is usually not advisable. But usually, when you look at all the cases like that I've dealt with, the men, they are just there to exploit the woman. When they now find their feet, they do a runner. They go take on another woman. You hear them giving excuses. Oh, I want to have children of my own. You've already had your own children, so you expect me to just be there. And normally, what those women do, they will now start telling their children from the previous relationship to start calling the man daddy. There's nothing wrong in calling him daddy, but if he hasn't had children of his own, I think it will be wise and not selfish. Don't be selfish to the extent that you overlook his own immediate needs. You want him to to take on the children that belongs to another man to now make those children his children. They can never be his children, no matter what. Especially if they are now of age of knowledge, where they actually know that they know their father. Their father will want the one to be involved in their lives, no matter the dispute between you and their father. So go for another matured single who perhaps is a widower. Maybe he has lost his wife or himself has been divorced. But don't be the reason behind the man's divorce. Let it be on a neutral ground that you just met him and maybe he's a divorcee. You understand? That way you know you're not under pressure. You already have your own children. He already has his own children. Financially, he's stable. He has his job. You are stable financially. You have your job. He has his passport. You have your passport. All the two of you are looking for is just two mature singles coming together, wanting it, enjoying each other's company, traveling around the world, enjoying the remaining parts of your life. No more stress of having to now say you want to go and force yourself to go and get pregnant in your 50s or in your late 50s just because you want to satisfy a man. What if something happens to you? Just because you want to get pregnant for a man because you are thinking, oh, he doesn't have a child of his own. If something happens to you and you die, what will happen to your existing children? So you will have to think before we make our decisions, to even as a single young person, you have to think, look at all the circumstances when you want before you go into a relationship. Because a good relationship can be so pleasant and it can help you to flourish in all aspects of life. But a bad relationship can destroy most facets of your life. And it can make you sick, both physically, mentally, and otherwise. So when you see all the signs from the words, from the action, from the conduct of the man, when he has shown you who he is, don't make excuses on his behalf. When he has shown you that the only reason why he's coming around you is to exploit you, he doesn't, even after you've even given him papers, he still doesn't want to go out there to work. He just wants to drive your car around. He just wants you to be the one giving to him always. He never goes out of his way to inconvenience himself to give you, even when he now starts working, because he has become so accustomed to you giving to him from the beginning of the relationship. From the beginning of the relationship. Ladies, I must warn you, you cannot know the true character of a broke man. So this is why it is dangerous to go into courtship with a broke man. A broke man is a loyal man until he becomes rich or until he becomes financially stable. then you see his true character. Then the kind of betrayal that you will get, it will so backstab you. And if it's the type that never had the fear of God, it will so do it in such a way that he wants to use his behavior, the betrayer, to make sure that he finishes you completely. It's like being run over by a trailer that your bones cannot be picked and joined together. This is the danger. So most time when you are caught in being intentional, know what you want. Have a mental calculation of what you want. Know that there is a danger if, as a mature single, you have the passport, you have the money, you have the children, you have the house, you have the job. It is you have all you are bringing so much to the table, and this man is bringing in nothing. Another thing you must remember, that you have invested into the life of a man. There is no guarantee that in 10 years' time he will value your investment, all that you've invested into him. Now, let me repeat it again. The fact that you have invested into the life of a man, you have been loyal, you have been kind, you have been loving, you have been supportive, you have stood by a man in his time of need. That is you. God can bless you in other ways, but never expect that because you have done that, the man is going to stand by you in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, in 15 years' time, when things turn around and he's now financially stable. He now has his money, he has his car, he has everything, and again, he doesn't need you anymore. There is no guarantee that he's going to stand by you. There are very few men who do remember. 5%, of course, they do. You hear them saying, "Oh, if not for my wife, you see this woman, I don't joke with her. If not for my wife, she's a loyal woman. This woman suffered with me. This woman prayed for me. This woman was there for me when my friends abandoned me, my family were not there for me. My wife was there." Very few men, and it's just 5%. That 5% are exceptional men who have the fear of God. But you see the remaining 95%, you're on your own, no? You're on your own. In fact, I was reading a story of a woman that she was like actually saying that uh, she helped the man to come over to the US to join her and something like that. When each time he's misbehaving and she tried to remind him of how they started, he will almost strangle her to say, "Don't you ever dare in your life mention my past. Don't you ever dare mention it. Don't tell anybody around us. I don't want anybody to know that you were the one that helped me. Don't ever mention it to anybody." It will warn her severely. And then she kept on living with that kind of a man. A man who had clearly shown and openly shown her that he did not value her. He is an extremely ungrateful man. Because anybody, whether man or woman, who tries to wipe away their past, they can never have a future. They can never know where they are going. Never. Because it is your past that helps you to have a future. Because when you remember your past, how you started, your past helps to discipline you. And when you are now disciplined, you are guided onto the path of success in the future. I will repeat that again. Your past, whether you're a man or you're a woman, your past helps to discipline you. And then when you are disciplined, it you are now guided towards your future, towards a successful future. So when you try to forget your past, you wipe out your past from your brain, from your head, from your memory. you lose focus. You become like a trailer who has no brake, or like a train who has no brake. You become very dangerous both to yourself and to people around you. And what causes that? Arrogance, greed, extreme greed, ingratitude, ungratefulness, selfishness, playing smart. You know, some people think that they are smart, they can play smart. They try to play smart. So when a player starts off playing, he doesn't want to remember his past. Remembering, telling him about his past irritates him because he's a player. Because if you remind him of his past, if he tries to ponder on his past, it will humble him a little bit because he doesn't want to be humble. Don't remind him of his past. And that's dangerous for him. It's dangerous for that man, it's dangerous for that woman. So, matured singles, this message is for you. When you're making that choice, you want to remarry, whether you remarried before once or twice, or you're marrying the third time, it's allowed. Marriage is a beautiful thing, but all that we are praying is to meet the right person who will complement us. Marriage does not depreciate, it enhances, it empowers, it makes you a better person. You see? So, again, just like every other of life's choices, when we are making choices about marriage, we have to be futuristic, we have to be careful, we have to be prayerful, we have to be discerning. Don't take just anybody, don't marry just about anybody. Single, mature single, it is not every man that comes to say hello, you look beautiful. I like you, I love you, I will marry you. It is not every man that comes and then that you now accept. No. It is for the man to make that proposal. It is for you to carry out your research before you say, I do, before you say yes. You know why? Most times it is women who suffer mostly in when a relationship fails. Women suffer mostly. Women and children, they suffer mostly when a relationship fails. So we cannot continue to repeat, to see women suffer daily in relationships. Do you know what is going on right now? A lot of young people, they're not interested in getting married anymore. As a matter of fact, they are scared. They are scared with these stories of divorce fighting on the internet. Everywhere you see, you hardly see positive role models who young people can look up to say, oh, I really want to be like this couple. I really want to get married. I was watching the other day of a couple who um, I was watching, I was listening to the video, and I think they had been married for, is it 5 years or so, and they got tired of living together and they decided to leave, to now start living separately. That was a bit really scary. More for the woman, I was like just thinking that, what is this woman actually doing? 5 years, they were already tired. They decided to go and to now just cut down on their lifestyle so that they can live separately. She rented a place, he rented a place. So they will live separately from Mondays to Fridays, then Friday night, date nights, and then they will spend the weekend together and go their separate ways again. You see, I cannot begin to talk about the dangers of such a relationship. But I just wish them all the best, really. The thing is, if you want to be married, be married. If you don't want to be married, remain single. Stop deceiving yourself. If you don't want to be married, remain single. If you want to be married, then make the commitment and let the commitment be for life. If you want to go into a partnership, you don't want to be tied down by the nitty gritties of marriage, then spell it out to the other side. So if it's something they find acceptable, then so be it. But if not, let everybody go their separate ways. Why will a couple get married after 5 years? They now decide to live separately because they feel that they are suffocating each other. It just shows that from the beginning there's a crack in that kind of a relationship. And the woman accepted it. She actually thinks she's having fun. She wouldn't know that actually well, I'm not even going to talk more because either way, people will do what they want to do, whether they remain married to you or whether they're separated or whether they are with you. Your presence in their life does not stop them from doing whatever it is they want to do. You can still be with a man in the house and he still tells you he's going down the road to the grocery shop. He still goes and cheats and comes back and pretends as if he hasn't done anything. So I just feel that whatever it is people want to do, just leave them to do it. But the thing is, people should also understand that there are consequences to everything that they do in life. There are consequences. And one thing also, if we can continue to remind ourselves that life is transient, life is short, so we cannot continue to play around the whole of our lives. Highest, by the time we are 60, we are 65, we're already all this gra, all this running around, all of this will be gone. What will be remembered will be the good relationships we have built around our spouses, around our children. That's what will sustain us in our old age. And that's what will also guarantee our longevity. So we begin to live our lives, even as men, as women, as if we are here forever, as if we're going to live for 500 years, as if we have so much time. And then we just go about hurting people, exploiting people, taking undue advantage of each other, thinking that we are here on earth forever. We are not here. It is only humans. Humans are the only beings created by God that don't talk about lifespan. Animals have lifespan. Plants have lifespan. But humans, they hardly talk about lifespan. They actually carry themselves as if they're going to live forever on this earth. The other day, I was discussing with a family friend of mine, and he was telling me about a friend's parents, is it their mom or their friend's mom or so, who is now 120 years, that they feed her through, she can't feed, they feed her through the tube, and it has to be puree. They have to do her food into puree and all of that. She can't see, she can't walk, she can't, so they have to. So just tell me, add another 50 years to your age. So why do we have to live the part of our lives that we're supposed to enjoy with our spouse? Why do we have to live it in disloyalty, in lies, in dishonesty, in deception, in cheating? Somebody would think they are building with you and they're putting in everything only for them to now find out that you already have your own hidden agenda. You prefer to go and to burst the bubble to go and start building somewhere else. And you don't feel any guilt about it. You actually think you are smart and you have supporters. Those supporters, they don't have your interest at heart. They want to kill you. They don't have your best interest at heart. They want to exploit you. The only reason why they are supporting your conduct is because they too want to take undue advantage of you. So you are all players. You're all players in this field of deception called relationship. Mature singles, shine your eyes. Be careful. Be careful. When you are dating, date intentionally. When you are dating, if you are a single mom, you have children, date thinking about the how to safeguard your children. When you are dating, before you say I do, think about what is now I'm bringing so much to the table. What is this man bringing to the table? Because love is not enough. Love is not enough. It is not love that keeps it. Fine, you can love a man, but that you love a man does not necessarily mean that the man will remain with you. As a matter of fact, my advice to women is marry a man who loves you more than you love him. That is what sustains a relationship. If you, as a woman, you are the one that has the car, the job, the British passport, the children, you are the one paying the mortgage, you are the one that has the money, and then you are the one that has the love. Ah, what is it? Did you come to this world to suffer, to serve somebody the remaining of your life? So it's a struggle. That's why your blood pressure will rise. You'll be sick every time you are in and out of hospital because it's a life of struggle. You are struggling to keep that relationship. You are struggling to please the man. The love is not there because he has not invested anything into the relationship. So he has nothing to lose. That is why he can wake up one day, pick up his traveling bag, and he's gone because he has not invested anything in the relationship. All this while, all he's doing is to take from you. Be careful. Women, be careful when you are dating. Be careful. Love is not enough. Love does not keep a relationship. And in rounding up, let me remind you again, ladies, when a person shows you who they are, believe them. Stop giving excuses. Oh, they are manipulating him. Oh, he didn't used to be like that. It's because he lost his job. Oh, something. So stop giving excuses for people who come into your life to exploit you. They don't care about you. They don't care whether you drop dead. They don't care whether you lose everything. Stop giving excuses for such people. You only have one life to live. Secondly, remember, it is okay to love. It is okay to give. It is okay to be loyal. It is okay to invest into the life of a man. But remember, there is no guarantee that because you have loved, you have invested, you have been loyal, you've given everything, your time, your prayers, your money, your resources. There is no guarantee that that man that you are investing all of this into his life will reciprocate in equal measure that level of love, loyalty, kindness, money, support, and prayers that you have invested into his life. It is not compulsory. So that is why as you are doing that, if he ends up throwing all your kindness right back at your face, don't be heartbroken because to be forewarned is to be forearmed. You have been warned. Be careful. Be careful. Marriage, what sustains marriage is not love. What sustains marriage is knowledge, wisdom, understanding. God bless you. And may God not allow you to continue to be in a relationship with your enemy. In the mighty name of Jesus. I wish you all the best. Please, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Life Class with Kate Okoli. Like and share. Let this channel be interactive as much as possible. We're trying to build the channel. We actually, now I have a bit of time on my hands. I'm actually trying to build this channel. We have a lot of resources that we want to share on this platform because they obviously haven't practiced as a lawyer for a period of more than 28 years. I've got the skills, the expertise, and obviously experiences that cuts across men, women, the things that affects relationships, people going to court, fighting themselves, custody issues, financial settlements, all of that. These are life's issues, true life experiences that I can actually share with you that will help to empower you so that when you set out into your own relationship, you will be able to do the right thing so that you don't, your story also is not used as a statistics. I pray that the Lord will grant you wisdom and understanding, that you will love with your head, not with your heart. I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. God bless you. Bye.